Welcome to Wednesday Reflections Podcast. I'm your host, Aaliyah. Lately, guys, I've been reflecting on the different versions of myself that exist. I've been reflecting on the one who's soft and open, the one who's guarded, the one who laughs easily, the one who stays quiet. And I've been wondering, which one is real? I've noticed that different people bring out different parts of me. Some spaces invite ease, others invite caution, not because I'm being fake, but because I'm responding. We don't show up the same way everywhere because every environment asks something different of us. And there's a story that we're told that there's one fixed, authentic version of us, and everything else is performative. But maybe authenticity isn't about consistency, maybe it's about congruence, right? So some people feel familiar to our nervous system and they remind us of safety or home or being seen, and then others activate protection, not because they're bad, but because our body is paying attention. So the version of you that shows up is often shaped less by choice and more by what your system believes is required. And the quiet one is what learned discernment, right? And the playful one learned joy. The guarded one learned survival. The open one learned trust. So each version of ourselves carries wisdom. Each one kept you moving forward. So that led me to growth isn't about deciding which version gets to stay. It's actually about learning when each one is needed and when it's safe to soften. So it's more about choice returning to the present moment. So you don't have to shrink yourself to complexity to be real. You don't have to pick one version and abandon the rest. Like, all of you is information. All of you is real. And the more you listen to yourself, the less confusing it becomes, right? So as I've been sitting with this, I started to notice something else, right? And so I started to notice the difference between masking and attunement. So masking is when we change ourselves to be accepted, when we edit our reactions, our needs, our truth, because somewhere along the way it didn't feel safe to be fully seen. So it often looks like being agreeable, being low maintenance, being whatever keeps things smooth. And masking isn't necessarily a flaw, but it's more of a learned skill, right? It's a way of surviving in environments that asked us to be smaller or quieter to belong. Now, attunement is a little different. Attunement is not about hiding, but it's about responding. So it's the natural way that we soften with people who feel safe or become more reserved in spaces that require discernment. And attunement doesn't cost us ourselves. It still allows honesty, boundaries, and choice, right? So the difference between masking and attunement is often felt in the body. It's just more, yeah. So it's often felt in the body. And so masking feels tense, it's effortful, it's like holding your breath. And attunement feels adaptive but grounded, and you can still feel yourself underneath it. So why it matters is because noticing the difference helps us understand which versions of ourselves are asking for rest, right? And which ones are simply responding wisely. And it helps us stop shaming ourselves for changing in different rooms, which is something that I personally needed to hear, because for years, many years, I've been shaming myself, in my head, because I do show up as so many different versions of myself. And when I get around certain people, it's like these versions come out and I can't help it. Like, sometimes I can't control it. Like, when I get around certain people, sometimes I feel more childlike, and it's like childlike, but like nervous. And one thing about me is that I do keep my inner child alive. I pride myself on it. I don't believe, or I don't want to say I don't believe, but I feel as though everyone should keep their inner child alive, to be playful, have a little bit more joy. And I feel like as long as you're keeping your inner child alive, you'll be more at peace and you'll have more joy in your life. That's my personal belief. So certain people, like I said, bring that out of me. And then some people, I'm more like monotone and not much expression. And like sometimes I can be just very like reserved and like very short with people. And some people, like, I don't know, like sometimes I'm not even gonna lie, I have a lot of self-awareness. And sometimes like I show up in certain spaces and certain places and I'm just very like not in the mood. I'm not really messing with people, and and sometimes people not even doing anything, and it's just me. Like I like in the moment I can be in my head and be like, "Girl, what is wrong with you? I don't know. I'm just not in the mood today. I'm not in the mood to. I don't know. I'm not in the mood to act. I'm not in the mood to mask sometimes. Like I'll just be over it, honestly. So once again, I just felt like it was cool once I took a moment to really reflect with that thought that there shouldn't be any shame as far as the different versions of ourselves. They're all me. And those versions are what make us all unique. Those versions are what landed us to our communities, to the people that's in our lives, to the friendships, to the opportunities that we have, and so forth. So, but I will say some of us do need a little bit more self-awareness, for sure, because the more that I feel like the more self-aware that I am, I feel like the more unself-aware people that I run into. And I feel like the more you grow as a person, the more frustrations you have. And I'm sorry if y'all can hear that airplane. There's nothing much, there's not much I can do about that. But anywho, but yeah, that's what I've learned. The more you grow as a person, the more you run into people who either may not be necessarily at that same level or don't have as much self-awareness or any self-awareness. And I feel like those are like little tests that like life throws at you to really see your growth in action. Because it's one thing to say that you're self-aware. It's one thing to say that you're mature and you're patient until life actually tries you. And then you get to see how patient you really are, right? So that's my thing. And then I'm gonna just detour real quick too. For the people who say that they're patient, right? If you're not patient with your kids, but you're patient with everybody else, I'm gonna say you're probably not that patient. But hey, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Okay, I ain't trying to throw too many shots, but if you ain't patient with your kids, because if you ain't patient with the people that's in your household that you need to see dang near every single day, then how patient are you? Yeah, I just called out some of y'all. But anywho, hopefully y'all stay. Ain't nothing but love. But anywho, I'm gonna wrap this on up, right? So I said all this to say, maybe the question isn't which version of me is real, but instead, which version of me feels free? And with time, we learn how to bring more of that freedom with us. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. And as always, you take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next reflection.